So from here, I need to consider base content, which would include adding documents, mapping and groupings, structures, and firm authorized standardized tick marks. And the document manager, it's as simple as dragging your content documents in and organizing them with the document numbers and placement in the document manager. So for example, if I had some work programs for my cash document that were in, say, Word or Excel or some other application, what I might want to do is just drag them in underneath my cash document. So I'd locate them using Windows Explorer. There's a program and a checklist option for me here, and then just drag and drop them in. Now as I drop them in, you'll notice that it got the next available number in the sequence here. So I may want to go into the properties of each of these documents and make sure that I have them set properly. And I'm just going in and changing the document numbers here, and then using control and cursor up, moving them into the order that I want them. So I've now got my cash program and my cash checklist added to my default file for an audit. And we continue doing this, adding all the other content that you want in your particular template, whatever that template happened to be for. Now I'm going to be showing small examples because there's a lot of considerations as we work our way through considerations for a template. Other considerations include items found in the engagement menu, such as the mapping. So if I go to engagement mapping in the file that I'm working on, we can see that it's empty. However, if I go to engagement mapping in the sample file, we can see that there's a sample mapping database, which is fairly standard for North American client template files. This can be edited and extended, and different items can be added to or subtracted from this dialog. Now, mapping numbers are like a standard chart of accounts with all the applicable properties like lead sheet grouping and tax linkage pre-assigned to these items. Map numbers can serve a number of important functions. By simply matching an account number from a client's specific chart of accounts to a corresponding map number, all the properties of that map number are auto-filled for the specific account. And in addition to being significantly faster than applying properties to each of the client's accounts, this method ensures consistency and accuracy over all files. For example, cash will be a lead sheet A in all of my files right there. The use of wildcards to link a range of common accounts can also be utilized. Although the client's account numbering scheme may not be organized in a useful manner, the mapping number scheme can be made systematic. For example, we have 111 here, and using 111 with an asterisk beside it in my calculation could mean all cash accounts where any cash account has been assigned to any map number with the prefix 111. Templates can be created so that every component is completely independent of the client's account structure, and all templates can then be used without modification for any clients using the default mapping numbers. Of course, if necessary at the engagement level, you can certainly make modifications to fit. But if you're finding that those modifications are being made in every client file, it's time to relook at your template to ensure that it's up to date with the content you need. Now, although optional, its correct usage as a standard within a firm can greatly increase productivity and integrity in the performance of bookkeeping, compilation, review, and audit engagements. Now, many of the components in the mapping database rely on groupings. And groupings can be found under the engagement menu, groupings. Now, there is a default set of groupings that are provided when I create a new blank file, and that's why you see the lead sheet tab populated with the information I have here. Also in the sample file, engagement groupings, and we can see there's a little bit more information in this particular tab. Group numbers, including lead sheets as group 1 and 9 other grouping sets, are used in grouping accounts on a lead sheet or grouping schedule. You do not have to create a lead sheet and grouping schedule documents before creating the grouping numbers. Grouping numbers are independent of document numbers. Grouping numbers can be assigned to the client chart of accounts in the trial balance. However, for consistency across client files, it is better to assign numbers in a map number database by accessing the engagement mapping that we saw earlier. Now, the next area I want to talk about is structures. In my SAMP file, I've brought a structure in so that I had something to show you. And again, we've looked at this in previous Caseware Zone presentations. A structure allows us to apply this information to specific automatic document types, so we get a layout that is going to provide us with a classified statement. Structures are used to create financial statement categories in the trial balance, lead sheet, and analytical review documents. Examples of such categories include current assets, prepaid expenses, and equity. And for each category, the automatic documents generate normally, displaying and accumulating accounts that belong to the specific category. A subtotal line, total and subtotals there, is provided for each category, as well as a total line for all categories of the same type. In addition to providing subtotals and totals for each category, the structures command can also generate net income calculations and plain text lines. Now at the moment in my template, I don't have any structures. So I'd want to populate that in my file as well. Next, we have to consider our tick marks, also under the engagement menu, engagement tick marks. Here we have the default list of tick marks that are available, and if I go to my SAMP file, engagement tick marks, we're going to see a similar list without a tick mark graphic. So a new blank file is actually going to provide you with the graphics already in there. However, you do have the ability to add more tick marks, and I just added a new line, choosing the line thickness, the color that you want, as well as the background to get to the final tick mark that you're looking for, where you can then provide text, a name, and even an extended description if the name field isn't long enough for that. Of course, any graphic that you can copy to your clipboard can be pasted into the tick mark graphic area to create your own custom tick marks if you don't like the ones that we have available. So we set up tick marks for use when annotating documents, and the tick marks worksheet allows the user to create, modify, or delete standard audit and review tick marks for work performed that will need to be used in the engagement. Next thing I want to look at is the lockdown password. Now in my template file, because it's a template, when I go to the engagement menu, I have the option to configure lockdown. If I go to the SAMP01 file, I've opened this one directly, so instead it just says lockdown. So in my template, I have the ability then to create a lockdown password. So you can create an override password at the template level so that any lockdown files based on the template require this password to be able to unlock the file. And to set the password at the template level, we must be in the template mode. And again, as you can see, I'm in the template mode. It's important to remember this password because if you do need to unlock a lockdown file, that would be the password that have to be supplied. I'm going to cancel that without creating a lockdown password, but that's where we would do it.